In today's video, we're going to take empty milk jugs like this one. Just make sure it's HDPE or high density polyethylene, and we're going to turn them into skulls like this one or this one or this guy right here. And this is the second video I've made about making skulls with milk jugs. The first one is linked below, and it uses a heat gun and a sponge and water. This one uses milk jug, heat gun, and a vacuum cleaner. So let's get started. For this tutorial, we're going to need a milk jug, some sort of skull. I'm going to use this one without the lower jaw, so I took it off. And I like this one because it fits very snugly in this jar. A heat gun. A hairdryer will not work because it has to warm up enough to soften this plastic. So you'll need a heat gun and some duct tape. And you will need a vacuum cleaner. Now let's go over some like safety rules or precautions. These are more like guidelines, but it'll keep you safe. It'll keep your vacuum cleaner safe and your house and your circuits and everything. So first rule, a normal heat gun draws about 1,000 to 1,400 watts, but so does the vacuum cleaner, right? So if you're likely plugging it into the same socket, that's going to be too much of a load on your circuits. So what we're going to do is use the heat gun and turn it off, then turn the vacuum on, turn it off, then heat gun off, vacuum off. Okay, but not at the same time because it just draws too much electricity, and that will keep your home safe. Second, make sure you open your windows. We're not going to heat this up too much, but it may release some fumes, so do it in a well-ventilated area. I have 5 windows in the studio, and they'll be open when we do this. Another rule is your vacuum cleaner is meant to have airflow from the intake where it vacuums and out the exhaust port, right? It's supposed to be moving air, and along the way it takes the dust out of that air, right? It's not meant to be like stuck. So if you put your hand on this and let it be stuck, you're going to burn your vacuum, right? So when we vacuum form this skull, you're going to be pretty much stopping the flow. So we're going to do it just a little bit at a time. You're going to almost like pulse on and off, right? Don't leave it running because you will burn your vacuum. But if you have a car vacuum or a battery operated vacuum, you might get away with it, but those don't have the suction that you may need to form this. And the last rule has to do with heat management. When we're heating the milk jug with the heat gun, as soon as you take the heat off the plastic, this part will cool down because we have open air right here. But on the inside, that air will get really hot. So if you heat it too much and the air gets too hot and your model is like this one, which is plastic, you will melt this, okay? This will start heating up until you end up with a nice ball of plastic that doesn't look like anything. So in terms of heat management, you're going to heat up just a little bit and not too much, then do the vacuuming, then heat up again. But don't stay on it. The other thing with heat management, if you put this heat gun on this all the way until it's clear see-through, that means that this plastic is almost liquid. And if you turn your vacuum cleaner at that point, it will blow out a hole in no time. It'll blow a hole into your thing and you lose your vacuum. And if you lose your vacuum, you won't be vacuum forming anything. So that's why we're going to do a little bit of heat at a time, a little bit of vacuum, and it's going to be a very slow and patient process, but you will love the results. Let's get started. I borrowed the household vacuum cleaner. I hope nobody finds out. And we're going to use this one. Now for this tutorial, I'm going to take the hand thing and I'm going to strap it onto my chair right here. Like that. I'm going to use a bungee cord for that. That is solid. That way you can use both hands to do the rest. So the first step is we're going to fit this guy in here. To put the skull in here, like I said, this is a huge skull, but depending on the size of your skull, you might need a smaller slit. But I'm going to start basically cutting right here go all the way down, and then around the handle, and all the way down. Without, see the line? Without getting to the little spout right here. So I'll stop right here. I'm just going to cut that with some scissors or a knife. I get started with a knife and then finish with scissors, which are way safer. And try to keep this line as straight as possible because we will need to reseal this milk jug. Now comes the tricky part. We gotta fit the skull in here, okay, without tearing it up. So you're gonna have to bend it and massage it, but we'll get it in there. And I want it facing out, so you have the cleanest two surfaces for the face, right? And leave the back for the back. Now we're going to take duct tape and we're going to seal from the top all the way to the bottom so that there is absolutely no air leaks. And we're using duct tape because it's designed for ducts so that they don't leak. First thing I'm going to do is take some strips to join it in the parts where they need to be really close. It's almost like putting stitches or butterfly stitches on it. This will help you line up the edges because they go out of alignment with the skull in it. Right, now one big strip from the top to the bottom. Alright, that's sealed, got a skull in there. Now we gotta mount it on the vacuum cleaner. Okay, so this doesn't fit perfectly. It actually bumps into it. They're the same diameter. So I'm going to cut this top edge until about the blue ring, and then it'll fit perfectly over this. Right, let's see if that fits. Like a glove. So now I'm going to seal the bottom with some more duct tape. That is sealed. Right, here comes the fun part. We're going to start vacuum forming this guy. So I gotta plug the vacuum cleaner, I gotta plug the heat gun, and we're getting started. Here comes the nerve-wracking part. I've opened my windows, so we're going to heat up a little bit and vacuum a little bit. But I'm turning this off when I vacuum. I'm turning the vacuum off when I heat. Also, I'm not going to leave the vacuum on because I don't want to burn it off. Those were the rules we talked about earlier. I'm going to focus on the face area so that the milk jug like clamps onto the skull and gives me the detail that I want on the face. The rest of the skull I don't care so much, so I'm going to focus on this area and then move all the way around. Now if you bust a hole like I did right here, you can put a little piece of tape to seal it. Just keep working the details. Now I'm going around the back. This part I don't care so much right here on the back, so I'm just going to go all the way up to like here and on the other side. Right, I just want a little bit more on the eyes and nose, and I think we are good to take that skeleton off. Alright, let's get this off. Alright, let's unmold this and see what we have. Now you can tear up your milk jug, because the only part we need is the face and maybe a little bit of the top. That's what I did with this one. I just used the face and the top. Alright, that doesn't look like much, but we're going to trim it now. We're going to trim around the cheekbones, around the teeth, around the cheekbones, and then we'll leave the top, we cut around right there. I'm going to tape the seam in the back. And we have us a skull, and these are the skulls that I use for my scarecrows, like the one behind me, or like Helga here. See if I can put the light right so you can see the level of detail. Now the next step to this, to get it from this to this, is I simply sprayed it with flat black on the outside. This part that still looks like a milk jug was covered with the cheesecloth, as you can see. I added the crown of branches. And then on the inside, if you're going to use it for a prop, I just use spray foam. So I put spray foam in there, and then I drilled a hole where it mounts onto the scarecrow. And she is facing down on this scarecrow right here. This has a temporary mask on it. So that's how I made this. So in the next tutorial we're going to be assembling this, and I'm going to show you how I put this whole scarecrow together. But I wanted to go through the technique of making the skull first, so that you know what to do. So I took the finished skull, I cut the eyes out, as you can see. I cut the nose out, and I spray painted it black. It looks so much better, and it's ready to become one of our scarecrows. So if you find this tutorial useful, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, because on the next tutorial we're making this scarecrow right here. And we have a ton of other tutorials coming up. So my question for you today is, I got those teeth in the mail. They're the real deal. They're from a dental supply place. So let me know what to do with those teeth in the comment below. And I will see you next time. Bye.